In life, we have most people, and then we have some people, and then we have a few people. What I mean by that is that most people feel one way, and some people feel another, and a few people feel something else entirely. But isn't that the way life is? That when we're not sure what most people feel, we have to do the research, the marketing, intel, and we literally have to figure out what most people think. Then we look up whether or not some people will agree. And if they won't agree, then, well, we say, okay, well, then I guess there's just a few that may not want to do this. But the truth is, in life, we have moments of time to prove who we are in the house of God. It's something that I continue to talk about because people are always making the assumption that they know someone else's thoughts. They're always making the presumption that they always know someone else's feelings, and they're often making demands on another human being that really aren't theirs to make. It's incredible to me that I have not seen an individual in a very long time, and yet she will continue to insult me and continue to say things that are so illegal if in the way that she is not a person of my choosing in terms of a care provider for me, and yet she will continue to say things that are inappropriate. Now, how do we fix things like that? How do we stop people from being inappropriate in the world as we simply say, look, if this was your life, would you like these things said to you? The truth is that when a man speaks the truth, he is speaking his truth. When someone else speaks their truth, they may be speaking their truth. The only question is whose truth is truth, right? I mean, when I talk about there's three sides to every story, it means that there's your side, there's my side, and then there's God's side looking down from above, looking at how his children are behaving with each other, looking how whether or not they are doing the honorable thing, trying to determine whether or not someone is or isn't something is really not your right. Trying to determine whether or not someone will or won't is also not your right. The only way to find out something from someone is to talk to them directly, and usually in person is best. And if you can't be there physically in person because you're too lazy to drive a couple hours to talk to someone, which is somewhat doubtful because you've sort of done it before but you still didn't talk to them, then there's a problem. But if you're not willing to talk in person like a mature adult, then, well, there's always those internet technologies like Messenger and Skype and other useful tools such as Hangouts, which allows you to talk face to face over a video phone that allows people to see who you are so that when they need to meet you in the future, they know exactly who you are and what you look like. You see, the value of social media is that we can put our faces online. The devaluement of social media is that we can put our faces online. What I mean is that our face is not the same thing as our voice, and our voice is not the same thing as our heart, and our heart is rarely the same thing as our soul. But it's our intelligence that people enjoy the most, and it's our wit that people want in their lives, and it's our humor that people live for, and it's our voice that people listen to, that they love to hear the sound of, and the list goes on when someone cares for you. But in life, there are people who say they care for you, but then they do malicious and violent and vile things. They infiltrate your records, they ruin your life, and you just sit there in awe going, what in the hell do you think you're doing? In life, we have moments of time to show people who we are in the house of the Lord. And when I do these recordings, it's really early in the morning, so I might have a yawn or two. But in your life, what time you get up and what time you go down to retire are your choices. When a person like me takes a nap on a public place, it's because I do so to stay safer from the monsters who try to come at me in the night and steal things and pilfer things. The other morning, I had my professional glasses taken from me. During the day, when I was shopping, I had some classic plastic glasses were stolen from me. The problem with living in the streets is just that you're in the streets, viable towards every other human being who just thinks they've got something to say to you. I've had white men drive by and shake their head at me, and I'm like, do you know my life story? Do you have any clue what I've been through? Do you have any way of understanding what these liars of the lands have done to me? But you're going to sit there and you're going to judge me in 2 seconds? At the same time, I've had loving people, loving women in particular, usually between the ages of 40 and 60, who drive up and say, hey, I'm worried about you and your struggle. Would you mind taking this off my hands so that I can feel better about what I've seen here today? Now, that's a loving way to handle it. When someone says, I would like to be a blessing to you, that's great. But $20 is real as a gifting is a blessing. It allows a man like me who's frugal to eat for a couple meals or to eat two hearty meals from a relatively quality grocery store. where I can buy quality food and put that in my body. When we are talking about helping people, the truth is it is as simple as buying a gift card for $5 to $7 because most of the fast food restaurants do produce a decent full felt meal deal for that rate. Some places like McDonald's will sell a sandwich for $1, but most men of my age and my station will eat a couple of those for breakfast. Now, in life, we've got moments of time to prove who we are to God, not to any other human being, because when we're doing things in loving ways, it's because we have the love of the Lord. But we don't have the right to keep wandering around saying they were a Christian, because people are supposed to know you're a Christian by your love. And if your love is failing, then maybe you need to look in the mirror and see who you are. Because when you start to behave as though Jesus is leading you to do damaging things to another person's life, you're probably in league with Lucifer as opposed to with the Lord Most High. What I'm saying is that we have a lot of people who carry themselves around the world in fancy vehicles and large trucks and other type of work service vehicles that don't have any clue what they're doing there. They just took a job and they started to work. But in life, we have most of the time to make a difference for someone, and making a difference for someone literally means saying, okay, here's my Rolodex. Let's take a look and see who I might know that you need to know now. Other people say, hey, here's my resources. Let's take a look at my situation and see what I can do to help you to produce clothing, or to help you to produce a new sport coat, or help you to produce some new shoes so that you can go on in life. The real legitimate people that are trying to help people actually from a true shelter, not just a fake shelter, not one that's just going to collect money and use that money for themselves, is literally trying to make that place a better place. And when they do so, they have to do it with the eyes of people and ideas of people who are actually living and residing there to a point, but at the same time they need external consultants. But when they're stealing information, when they're stealing rights, when they're stealing ideas, that does not produce a positive result. The Lord Most High will be very raging about that situation because they have lied and they have stolen things that the Lord has bestowed on someone else. In life, we have moments of time to show who we are in the house of God, and if you're not doing that very well today, that's on you. If I'm not doing that well today, it's because I've been so attacked and so harassed that I'm tired of the people who lie about what they think they're doing in my life. But in life, we have moments of time to sing how we feel. So in a few minutes, I might just do that, but who will listen? I'm looking for files in my YouTube channel, and I'm finding they're missing. Well, who had the right to get on my YouTube channel? Who had the right to delete things? I certainly didn't. And yet, when my phone gets to about a 48 percentile, it shuts itself down. Why? It's set up in the phone to not shut down until 5%. You see, in life, we have moments of time to talk about truth. And the truth is, someone has monkeyed with my phone. The truth is, someone destroyed my other phone where I could take a battery out, and I can't even find not only the phone, but I can't even find the battery anymore because some liar of the land put their hands in my bags and took it out. You see, liars of the land are always the first to steal, the second to complain, and the third to ruin a life. And that's what I'm saying. In life, we have moments of time to tell people how we feel, and the only way to tell someone how you feel is if you legitimately know them. If you don't legitimately know them, if you've never had a relationship with them, if you've never done anything wrong in your life, then wonderful. But most likely you're a sinner, just like the person is that you're trying to accost with your lies and with your hate and all the different crimes you're trying to do on that person's life. In life, we have moments of time to show who we are in the house of God, and when you show who you are in the house of God, you help a person accomplish a task. You help them to last longer. You help them to develop a business network. You help them to find employment. You help them by following their lead, not yours, in their life. Because the last thing you want in your life is someone coming in and monkeying around and telling you how to manage your life. But the truth is, some people do need that. Some people do need the training of someone who's more seasoned, the training of someone who's has more wisdom, and the training of someone who's literally been through hell and back. When we train people, we have to reach their souls, and sometimes we don't do that very well because we're too busy trying to show the positive parts of our company as opposed to the negative parts of our company. In life, we have moments of time to say who we are in the house of God, and today may be my day. Tomorrow could be your day, and in 3 weeks' time, who knows whose day it will be. But in life, when I say I love you, it means I love you. It doesn't mean I'm trying to manipulate you. It doesn't mean I'm trying to do something ill-willed, and it certainly doesn't mean that I need my mother involved in my sex life. What I'm talking about is ill-gotten, ill-willed behavior of people who have immorally and violently attacked a man's life without provocation from him and without his consent to do so. And it all began long ago by a handful of people making a decision that they were going to try and teach a man a lesson, that they were going to try and do something to him. And in that moment of time, they failed the house of the Lord. They literally failed God. And if we don't recognize those things, then things like that can continue to occur, and people across the land will just start taking shots at local law enforcement. We don't need the killing of our lives. We don't need the manipulation of our records. We do not need the theft of our property. And at what point do the politicians in the land start to recognize that people in poverty, people not living in affluent black communities, people not getting enough education are participating in the thefts of our property, our paperwork, and our personhood? And that is immoral. In life, we have moments of time to speak the truth of our observations, and the truth of my observations is this. The truth of your observations might be something else entirely, but are you living the same life as me? Probably not. Are you doing the same things as me? Most likely not. And are you actually helping me to move forward in life? Is my question to you. But more importantly, my question to the people who are in homelessness like me, who are struggling themselves to find people like you to help them. Whether it takes a few days, whether it takes a few months, or whether it takes all the days of your lives, it matters what you do in the spirit world, and I promise you, you can be held accountable too. Thanks for listening.